We are sitting on a lake in South Carolina where Mr. Landrum has taken a small little fishing home that his parents got on this lakefront, and he has made this his residence, and he has built on and built on one addition at a time. We arrived in yesterday from being with Lou Whitaker and the Detroit Tigers up in North Carolina, but man oh man, was last night on the lake something else. Today we're with Bill Landrum, and you who are watching this would know Bill by being a successful pitcher in Major League Baseball. Welcome to Before the Glory, Bill.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I got to meet Bill earlier this year, and the interesting thing about talking to a guy that had great experience with the 89, 90, 91 Pittsburgh Pirates when they're winning the division and trying to go to the World Series is that before Bill was born, there was a guy named Jackie Robinson that broke into baseball in 1947. And by 1952, the Dodgers and the Yankees kept on meeting each other in the World Series. In 1952, the Dodgers had a pitcher on their staff, and his name was Joe Landrum. So before Bill was born, his dad was pitching in the big leagues for the 1952 Dodgers. When you were a little kid, just to key in on Pop first, when did it start to hit you that in the middle of nowhere here in South Carolina, you know, your dad left the small town for big city to really earn his keep?
Yeah, well, South Carolina really, for a small state, has a rich tradition in baseball, going back to Shoeless Joe Jackson and quite a few others, Bobby Richardson. I just, all his team pictures and stuff were always hanging on my bedroom wall, and I would sit there and just, you know, I could go over. I was an Atlanta Brave fan at that time, which is ironic because I grew to hate them because they kept keeping us out of the World Series in 91, 92. But anyway, I would just sit in bed, lay in bed, and look at these pictures of Jackie Robinson, Gil Hodges, Pee Wee Reese, Preacher Rowe, Clem Labine, Campanella, Robinson, all these greats. I think it's like 4 Hall of Famers in that one team photo. And you know, I just never dreamed that I could one day be there, but my dad was probably the greatest influence of my life, just starting at an early age, from him accomplishing something like that, number one, and then the way he went about living his life, so modestly and genuinely a good guy.
Was your dad a lefty or a righty?
He was a right-hander.
Was his pitch that got him there, was it heavy heat, or did he have a great?
No,
great
he was a control pitcher with a big lollipop curve and a lot of, you know, back then you do double and triple wind-ups and where the fly. I mean, all through the league, he said, wear a floppy sleeve. You know, it's all about distracting the hitter. You know, and he'd have me double pumping and all this old school stuff. And looking back on it, it was really some neat times.
When you were little, you're one of the Landrum kids. Now, fire away. You're one of how many kids?
4.
4. But something unique. You weren't born alone. We got a twin there.
Right.
Don't we?
I have a fraternal twin, and he wasn't eye-hand coordinated. If they would have had X Games back then, he'd probably make a great X game athlete. But Bob is more of an intellectual. He's smart and a computer wizard, computer engineer. I came saying that I don't know how to cut one on. He made straight A's, and I was just struggling to make my C's and get by and move to the next grade. And I love sports, and he liked drawing and that kind of stuff.
Now you two,
so we were
the youngest, the oldest, we're in the middle?
We're the youngest.
Oh, so it's you two and that was it.
Yeah.
So two older siblings, both boys, boy and girl?
I have my oldest is my sister. She's 4.5 years older than me. 4 years older than me, and my older brother is 2.5 years. So my mom had 4 kids in 4 years. So,
Who is, 3 boys in the house, and you're
one
talking,
bedroom.
yeah, you're talking the 1960s. Who was the disciplinarian if there was too much roughhousing going on or anything going on around the house? Mom carried the heavy hand?
She was a stay-home mom, and I mean, she would, she she got our attention, kept us pretty straight. Yeah.
What was the way? Like a lot of times people will say a switch. People will say the back of the hand. People say, you know, she had to have a style, man.
It was the belt.
It was the belt.
Yeah, it was the belt. And she never hit you on the butt. She always hit you on the top of the leg, so it really stung.
Is that how she got your attention in a
absolutely.
hurry?
Yeah.
Now, there had to be someone that pushed the wire the most out of them three boys. There has to be.
Yeah, it was probably me. I was the instigator and then the aggravator. I used to aggravate my older brother and my twin brother to death. My older brother always had, you know, I remember when he got his a 3-speed swim bike. I mean, that was like state-of-the-art stuff back in the early 60s. I mean, when he wasn't around, I'd sneak and ride it. And of course, he'd beat me up when he came home. And my brother, I could always beat him up, so it trickled downhill. I get beat up by my older brother and then go beat my younger brother up.
And your sister stayed clear.
She would instigate it. Because Mom and Dad always went out to eat every Thursday night. That was their date night.
Yeah.
And that left Linda in charge. And for instance, like Mom would make a pound cake or something for Sunday dinner and say, "I don't any of you boys eating this cake is for Sunday dinner. This is Thursday." And they'd be out to eat, and Linda would say, "You know, I bet that cake sure is good." She would get, one of us would eventually cave in, eat a piece of chocolate cake, get your butt cut when Mom and Dad got home. So she was always instigating too. But
It was not a boring household.
no, but yeah, and that's why to this day, I'm convinced that's why I'll get up out of a warm bed in the wintertime and go outside and pee. It's because we had 3 brothers and 1 sister and 1 bathroom, and you know who ruled the bathroom.
Absolutely, that woman did.
That was my older sister.
Yeah.
So we always had to go out in the yard and pee.
Yeah, that was the only piece you got because that bathroom was used up. I get it. I do. Well, Dad, after baseball had what would be called an incredible work ethic.
Yeah.
You've made mention of it. I've talked to your dad. To go off on that a little bit of what he was doing to keep busy and pay the family bills.
Dad started back when TVs were first coming into getting big in the early 50s. He opened up a TV sales and service business and was building a really successful business. But then at the same time, I think he said he started going to people's homes and see everybody watching Days of Our Lives, all these soaps, and he said he could just see the corruption that TV was causing. And one day, I don't know what happened exactly, but at his business, he had 3 or 4 phones ringing at one time. And I think as the story goes, he snapped, picked the phone up and threw it through a window at work, and walked out and sold his business the next day. Bought a 1966 pickup truck, a couple lawnmowers and rakes, and an edger, and became a yard man. So we grew up after school. We'd go help him cut other people's grass.
Sure. And you worked hard, and you got something in your pocket if you needed it.
Yeah.
Not a bad deal.
No, not bad. I grew up a perfect childhood. We grew up in the country. We had a lot of land. We had horses. We had goats. We had chickens. We had brothers, and we had neighbors, and we'd play ball, and a place to play ball out in the fields, and we'd build backstops and pitching mounds, and go into town and round up town kids and come out and play ball all day. And we'd camp out all the time, rivers, lakes. I mean, I had a very good childhood.
And Columbia is no joke with ball players. Before you, the Yankees had a pitcher named Dooley Womack.
That's right.
Before Dooley, it was your dad. After Dooley comes you and NL Cy Young Award winner, or American League Cy Young Award winner, Lamar Hoyt.
Mm-hmm, you're right.
That's just in your little area.
Yeah.
I mean,
For a small state, there's been some very rich baseball traditions.
I like that you mentioned Shoeless Joe Jackson. When you're doing this, you get asked the question by the media all the time, you know, do you think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I get asked that.
Right.
That and steroids, I'm going to face that everywhere I go
Right.
because I'm trying to promote book sales and I do media. And I have a standard answer. Do I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame? For me, I've simplified. I go, when they put Shoeless Joe Jackson in, right? Because he did less and accomplished, as in batting average, World Series batting average, right?
You know,
More
300.
more than Pete. I'm not saying hits, but I'm saying his lifetime average, right? And we're not talking just a couple of years. We're talking a baseball career. So if they're going to punish him by keeping him out of the Hall of Fame, and then it gets many years later to Pete, I just simplify it and I go, I can't answer whether Pete should be in or not until they put in Shoeless. That's how I handle it.
Well, that's a very diplomatic of you.
It's a South Carolina guy, but I don't think I'm passing the buck. I'm telling you, that's the way I feel.
Well, I'll tell you, I think Pete belongs in the Hall. They can keep him out of baseball if they want. That's their prerogative. But the man's life achievements speak for themselves. And same with Shoeless Joe Jackson. And there's always going to be people left out of any club that should belong. But he definitely, in my book, belongs.
I'm skipping ahead, but you're a kid that spent a bunch of years in the Reds minor league system, and I'll go back. But you're a kid, and then you come up to the big leagues. You know, everybody is just cutting their teeth. You're
Right.
cutting your teeth around Pete.
Right. That's. I couldn't ask for a better start. You know, I mean, regardless of his flaws, when Pete Rose walked into the locker room, and if I was sitting down in my locker, I immediately got up and started doing something. I don't care if I just went to the bathroom, to act like I had to use the bathroom. I just didn't want to sit still, because that's Charlie Hustle. And Charlie Hustle don't sit still.
He wants to win every game.
Yes,
Wants every
absolutely.
run. You know, getting to the big leagues is interesting. When you were pitching in high school, a lot of times, you know, we'll hear about Strasburg, we'll hear about these new guys. Jordan Zimmerman is doing really well out of Wisconsin for the Nationals, leading the league in ERA. But you had 0 college scholarship offers coming out of high school. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what does the kid do with no offer but wants
Well,
to try?
I'm gonna back up a little bit. I was zoned to go to one high school, and this was at a time of turmoil back in the early '70s when segregation was just coming in, and there's a lot of riots around. And the school I was zoned to go to, it was just the blacks and whites were fighting all the time, and it was just a horrible situation. And I'm glad we've all grown up from that, and should be over that by now. But by the time, it was real, and it was a problem. And so I was zoned to go there, but I went to another high school, Spring Valley. Because of that, I wasn't eligible to play sports.
Oh, really?
So my 10th and 11th grade, I played nothing. No basketball, no football, no baseball. Then my senior year, we bought some land, and my dad bought some land in Spring Valley District, which now made me eligible to play sports.
Okay.
And that's when I walked out as a senior to play baseball. And I still played summer ball,
Sure.
you know, American Legion ball and that kind of stuff. But I just didn't play in high school until my senior year. And it's funny, I just saw Coach Gritch is his name, that's my high school coach. He just got inducted to the South Carolina Hall of Fame. So I saw him last year, and he called me the senior rookie. And his initiation for me was, I'll never forget, it was a rainy day after practice, one of the practices. He got a pair of dull scissors, and back in the 70s, hair was everything. And he just cut my hair, just butchered it all up. Where I had to have it, you know, had to go get it cut again, so it wouldn't be too ratty looking. And it was actually shorter than it is now. Which back in '75 was,
No.
you just didn't want that, you know. So that's where I got my start. Then out of high school, I had no scholarship offers.